What happened to the Cavs team that should have been dominating the East this year? Last year they were 64-18, which was historic. First in offensive rating, second in pace in the whole NBA, and top 10 in defense and net rating. What happened to that team? They're currently 14-11. That's like around 8th in the East. I mean, we're looking at a team where currently they got Lonzo Ball in the offseason, so you think they get better. And also, the powerhouse of Boston that won the championship 2 years ago. Indiana, who just made it to the finals, they both lost their main player, their superstar player. So you would think they'd be dominating the East. Same thing with the Knicks. But the Cavs currently are on the 8th seed. That's the realm that they're in right now. And it has to do with the fact that, like Donovan Mitchell said in one of his interviews, now the league knows who the Cavs are. They stamped themselves. They are certified hoopers. They can dominate the East like they did last year. So now, without the other two teams who were championship contenders, now all the Eastern coaches can focus solely on the Knicks and the Cavs and how they're going to defend them when it comes to regular season and playoffs, right? So now you're seeing teams, opposing teams, pack the paint. They're forcing contested threes. In the transition game that the Cavs were so efficient on, so good in, they're slowing the game down. Now the opposition is trying to slow them down, force more half-court sets, and unfortunately, while the Cavs can score, you don't want to see ISO ball with such a good team all around. They have great shooters, but the shots they're shooting are all contested because of the defense that they're applying now. Weak-side defenders are not helping. They're packing the paint. I mean, the other night we saw the Magic. They would just put two bodies in the paint at all times. And the pick and rolls would be guarded from the side. So now with two guys in the paint, you're forcing a midi because you can't go in and you're denying the lob threat, which is Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. And at that point, with their threes, they're contested it really well as well. And even if it's open, like the amount of open shots that they're able to get, even with such great shooters, over time, when you get your possessions cut in half or cut short or just slowing their momentum down, even those open shots can lead to misses. And that's that type of momentum switch that you're seeing from a lot of teams. All the teams are trying to slow the game down. The Knicks the other night were just getting rebounds, out-rebounding them, which that's another thing that they were slowing down. And their rebound numbers have went down. And this year, and last year as well, the rebounding is extremely important. I mean, Houston is dominating the boards offensively, specifically. Offensively, Houston is dominating the boards. And that's helped them so much. When you got Steven Adams, someone like that, who's able to hound the ball for rebounds, that gives your team so many more possessions, so many more opportunities. A 2 can turn into a 3, or a 3 that missed can turn into at least a 2-point shot. And that's the thing that the Cavs are also, they've been declining in. Now, in all fairness to the Cavs, the schedule hasn't been easy. A lot of back-to-back, a lot of traveling. So now, while a lot of things can be said about other teams as well, it's still something I want to take into consideration. I'm not saying that they're all playing bad. It's just the combination of both. I mean, all teams are they're able to prepare better for the Cavs. And their three-point shooting, when you look at the numbers, like there are some dips and there are a couple factors, but a lot of them stay true to how it was last year. It's just unfortunate that last year was such a historic season, the second best record in the NBA besides Oklahoma, they got knocked out by the Pacers. And like I said, ultimately they went to the finals. But if you look at this team now, they're 14-11, and while things can change, a 14-11 start is not good for a team that should have been dominating the East. If they dominated last year, then this year they should have been walking the park with all of these Eastern Conference teams. But unfortunately, that's just not the case. Now, when you shift over to the defensive side a bit, it's not as bad when it comes to the big men, right? Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, they're still elite rim protectors. So that part of the game is one of those where it's like, yeah, you're still holding up. But the transition defense hasn't been the same. That's another part. Their strong suit that was last year in their offensive transition has now become their weakness defensively. Now the other teams, like New York the other night, can get the rebounds and launch it up. They can get a lot of transition points. And in the current state of the NBA, you're seeing it a lot with the Miami Heat. They've been able to adapt to where you want to run the offense. The more possessions you get, the more looks you get. So the faster you can get points on the board, the better, the higher chance you have of winning. And that's become an ongoing theme throughout the whole regular season, and is why the Miami Heat have been able to win more games than I feel like they should. And now the Cavs have digressed. They've reversed in that aspect. They're now went from one of the best in the league to now one of the worst defensively when it comes to defending the transition. And unfortunately, that in and of itself, let's say their half court offense was great. When you lose that side of the ball, it gets extremely difficult to win games because there's a lot of shots that you might be making that are tough. But if the other teams are just getting easy opportunities, then it just helps their momentum grow. And that's been the case for a lot of teams, a lot of games. And 14-11 is not the spot you want to be in. You want to be in a better position. You want to be able to compete against some of the teams in the West. I mean, on paper, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley should be able to be enough to guard, Chet. And I'm comparing to OKC because of how good they are. So while, yeah, you're losing the aspect of defensively in your guards, it just hasn't clicked. Lonzo Ball was in my head going to be a great way to help this defense in the perimeter and the half-court defense and the transition defense. And it just unfortunately hasn't been the case. And so we get to a point where I'm not going to go ahead of myself and say give it up or rebuild because it's still a great team. But let's take a look. What is the next step? Because this isn't a championship team, right? Donovan Mitchell cannot carry this offense all the time. So does Darius Garland have to step it up? Or, who should be, Evan Mobley needs to step it up. Become more of an on-ball creator, an on-ball scorer, more than he already is, because there needs to be another level. Your offense cannot always start with D. Mitch. And there are times where it doesn't, and it might work, but you need so much to change. Because like I said before, this is the year that should be yours. This is the year where you should go to the finals. And unfortunately, it's not looking like it's going to happen. But I don't know, man. I mean, we gotta see how it goes. We got to give it some more time throughout the regular season. Maybe some things change. I mean, maybe they become more efficient. Maybe they find a different game plan that works out well. Or maybe, they're all healthy. A lot of things can change throughout the regular season. But only time will tell. So we got to give it some time. And let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know if you guys think they're going to flip it around. If it's going to be a team that's just going to emerge and just take them out the park. Or if it's a lost cause and you don't think the score is going to win it. But anyways, I hope you guys have a good one. Peace.